Okay, so we're live here with another edition of Blended Tech Learning's Edtech Office Hours. I am Nick Finelli, your host and presenter, and happy spring, everybody. I know most everybody's getting a little chill here before spring really happens, but anyway, so some things that I want to talk about tonight are there was a question about using Google Sheets and being able to copy Google Sheets from one particular page or sheet to another, and then also being able to use that same sheet or copy that entire sheet to an entirely new file and have the data still be live. So we'll do that. And then there was another question back from last week that I wanted to show you about using the 3D models in PowerPoint. So if you have the Fall Creators Edition, you will have all these functions. If not, then your PowerPoint will not be able to do this. But the cool things is it brings in a model, and then you can actually manipulate that model, and then in your PowerPoint you can have it present so as if kind of like Apple's Magic Move. It moves the particular object that you have, and it kind of morphs as if it's changing with the slide. So I'll show you that. And then we'll look at some other things inside of Microsoft, such as Microsoft Edge. It's a browser that doesn't get much respect out there, but it's got some pretty cool features, and I want to be able to show you them because if you have a Windows 10 machine, then you might as well use this because there's a lot of neat stuff you can do. And so that's where we'll go. A reminder, so I kind of started out in the beginning there, but I'll click on here and remind you that there. All right, so a reminder that, of course, we're on Facebook and Twitter. So if you go to Facebook, it's just at Blend Tech Learn, and you can get to Blended Tech Learning and go straight to the Facebook Live. All videos and things we do will be posted on our YouTube channel, which is YouTube user is Blended Tech Learning. And then I am at Nick Finelli. So it's just my name on Twitter. Did want to also note that at the end of this show, I'll tell you about some of the new courses we have up. So I'll show you those. We got a lot going on, and a lot of people going now to the level 1 and level 2 Google certification courses. So those are heating up, and I know plans are being made for the summer. So we'll talk about those to make sure you can get those in. All right, so now let me switch over to, we'll talk about our PowerPoint first. So let me switch over to that, and we'll go there. So PowerPoint, again, like I was saying, if you have the Creator Studio Kit, then this is a pretty cool thing you can do. So let's go over here. All right, so you're looking at my desktop here, and I already have open PowerPoint, and I'm actually in the transition. So let me just go to the home section so you can see. All right, so any of your normal PowerPoints, you see I already have a B in there. Okay, happy spring. And if I click on Insert, you will notice your normal functions, but then you'll also notice a couple new things. Icons is relatively new, but that's kind of nice to be able to insert different type icons. So it's going to bring up a separate box in front, and you can search this way, insert any of these just by looking at it or scrolling up and down. So it's kind of a nice feature to be able to have that. And then you just check it off and insert it. And it'll put it in. Of course, you can make the icons bigger too. And they also have the same type of functions once you select them, as far as being able to change the colors, things like that. Changing the outline. And that's, of course, when an item is selected. You'll get all those. You can crop, you can align, group them, things like that. All right, going back to insert. So one of the other things you see, let me make my screen a little bigger so it expands out. There you go. So we have these 3D models. And so there's a drop down arrow and you can click from a file. So that means if you've created or exported any type of 3D model, you can bring those in. And I'm going to click on that just so you can see, because it's going to look for a specific model type. So you can see all of these are already on there. If you do have a Windows 10 machine, these things are going to come in by default because you can make lots of cool models with them. So one of the programs that you can make these models in is called 3D Builder. Let's see where I can go down here and find it. Probably should have just done a little search there. 3D Builder. There we go. The 3D Builder looks like this. It's going to start with this graphical area, and from that you can build new items. So they actually call them scenes, but you can take shapes, you can take objects, all sorts of things. So that's one place you can build or create your own. You can also insert or add things from other places. So if you also have the Paint 3D, which also is in Drive itself. So I'll do Paint, excuse me, in Windows 10. Paint 3D. And Paint 3D looks like this. It's similar to your other paint programs, but then it allows you to bring in shapes, color them, select them. Can bring in 3D objects if I wanted to, 3D models of all sorts. And there's the object itself, changing the colors, rotating it. Okay, so any of these can be made in whether it's Paint 3D or 3D Builder. So that's all it's looking for is programs like that. These are some of the formats that you can bring in, all 3D models, object formats, which are OBJ files. Those are pretty typical. Stereolithography format, STLs. So just want to show you that. So let's say I didn't go there and I wanted to just bring in a model from online sources. So I click on that and there's a whole library of these under Remix 3D, which is Microsoft's version of that. And you have basic subjects here. So I brought in the bee itself. So I just looked under bugs. And then it gives you some choices. Okay. And so if I want to take this butterfly and do the same thing and bring it in, model. All right, so there's the model in there. And grab it. I can turn it around, clicking on different parts, and you can see I can rotate it to how I might want it or need it. Now, just backspace that out. I space it out. And so I have this one with bees, and so you can see, same thing here, moving it around, can rotate it, can even make the size of it smaller, larger, however I want. And then on the next page, so similar to how you might use, if you have a Mac, if you're using the Magic Move, what it does is you duplicate your first slide. So however this slide is, you duplicate it. And then once you duplicate it, it has the same image. All I did was delete the words and made the same image go to a different spot, and I made it bigger and did a different angle. I added this little listing or this little label. And so what's the neat part about it is then you select both particular files. You're going to go to transitions. And under transitions, there's one called morph. And so what it does, and it gives you directions right there. So it says duplicate the slide, move things around, and then apply the morph transition. Anything you add or delete will fade in and out. Okay, so now let's play this from the first one so you can see what I did. So let me go ahead and play this. And let me make sure the display is showing on both so everybody can see it. All right. All right. So I'm going to have it show this slide, and then I'll go to the next slide. So when I click on it, gotta be in the right area. There we go. Off. Let's try that again. All right. Bring this back. And this time, since I'm sharing the whole screen, let me get it so it's going to play. Switch this back. Now it's not wanting to move from slide to slide. So what it does is actually shows the transition inside the slide. So hopefully you just saw that is how it moved the bee from one side to another. And what that does show is if I go back to the first one, it rotates back. So using that morph, it shows the movement of those. And of course, if the text is in there, it goes away. And so I'm going to escape out of this and go back to editing. Let me end the slideshow. All right, so if I were to go to this slide and of course duplicate it, okay, duplicate slide, and now I wanted a different angle, maybe take away something else, could do something with the lettering here. I just click on it, and now let's look at it from this side. There we go. And we'll keep it there. And notice I still have the morph transition. Okay. So now when I go to present again, in the beginning, we're going to see it move. Okay, and then we'll see it move again. There we go. And of course, if you want to add any text or anything like that, then you're able to do that. But definitely a really cool way to show things and have some movement along so that it keeps the attention of whoever's presenting. And then, of course, for kids to be able to make them and have this effect. But all right there built into PowerPoint. All right, so some pretty cool stuff there. So just remember to go to, make sure you have the Fall Creators Studio for Windows 10, and you should be good to go. Now, the next one we were talking about was just going into Google and looking at a particular set of data and being able to copy that data. And also, just remembered part of the question was too is if you're sharing data or sharing the same file, can I sort that data um, or can I filter it? And there's a difference between filtering and sorting, but you can definitely filter the data, but sorting it like A to Z will affect others. So let's go into a particular Google file, and I'll bring that up in a second here. And so we're going to bring up a Google spreadsheet. I'll just move it into this screen so you can see it in just a second. All right. All right, so here we're looking at my go-to spreadsheet that has lots of different information in it. So here's my go-to spreadsheet. I want to be able to take the information from this one and copy it to another sheet, and maybe just some part of this information. So maybe just the year and the host. So if I were to take these two areas and highlight all the way down, actually it's already sorted, so probably should change that before I copy it down. But so this sorted by a different area. But anyhow, no matter what particular thing you want to copy, of course, you're just going to Control C to copy. So it copies that area. And then let's just go to a new sheet. And so when you go to a new sheet, if you were just to paste, it's going to put that stuff in there, but it's not necessarily going to copy that particular data when it changes. Basically, you just did a simple copy and paste. So plus it all put it in one area. But if I were to put equals here on the new sheet and then go back to the data, I can go to a different set of data here. And if I were to copy these all the way down, then I just hit enter. Notice what it's saying is it's saying equals, and it's saying World Cup data set 2, which is this particular sheet. And then it's saying those particular cells. And once I do that, then what it will do is it will recognize that. So if any changes are made to this sheet, they will automatically be recognized in the other spot. And little parentheses there. All right. And comma. Now my data set did not come over. All right. So let's see what's going on. Why it did not copy. All right. Let's try this again. So we go to the data set. It copies the data. Selecting whatever areas want. It should show up the values unless they're being copied from an additional set. I will look back at this and see what I did wrong. Because this was able to take it. See, equals World Cup. So this is no problem bringing in the average attendance because it just is equals quotes World Cup, which was this set of data right there, F1 to F21. On this new sheet I made, you notice data there is just this. To sheet 3, let's see why this is having difficulty. And then if I drag down, notice it brings in all those values. And if I were to continue down, of course it would stop. Notice doing F17 through that, bringing it over. And once there's no more data, then of course it would stop. If I were to drag across, notice it's doing the next set of data. So I really just have to select the first cell that I want to bring in. So the first cell is really like F1, and then I could use this just to really drag over or across however I need it. And see how the rest of the data just follows. So I'm not sure why the first part. I have to look to see if I did something special with the spacing or something like that. But typically it's just you type in equals, you select the data in the other sheet, and you have it. All right, so the other thing I want to look at as well, I'm here, we talked about earlier showing you how you can look at your data and be able to filter it without it affecting, because maybe this is shared with a bunch of other people and you don't want your your filters to affect them. So if you go to the arrow and create new filter view, this area will become gray. And so when you see this gray area, this basically just means you're the only one that can see this filter. It doesn't affect the other people involved. And so then you can filter by view. And so now if you sort, it will change the values. For instance, I'm sorting, and then if I just click on the X, yeah, it changed that. So look at here. Let me go back to my filter and view. I'll do the second one here because you can add as many different filter views as you want. And there's my sorting that's different from the one you just saw, which was the one everybody saw. So that's how you can take your data and do any types of filtering or sorting within it, as long as you click on the arrow next to it and hit create. Otherwise, if you just hit this create a filter, when I make changes here, such as sorting changes, or if I filter out by clearing out the 1930s, then the view will only show that for everybody. If I want to create filter view from that, notice I'm only working with the original part, but I can now scroll down and get to that other data that somebody else had filtered. So it really just brings the entire spreadsheet back to you, and you be able to create your own filter views. And I don't know if you noticed that every time I did this, it adds its own name. So you can actually name how you want it filtered, whatever you want to call it. So that's a filter view. I wanted to show you that. And so the next thing I wanted to share was just the Edge browser. So on a Windows 10 machine with the Edge browser, you can do lots of cool stuff. And so I'll bring down this little this E here, and I'll bring it up. And let's share this screen again. All right, so I'll bring the Edge browser in full view. All right, so of course it's the E down here at the bottom. Some things just you can do regular searches. It's going to search Bing, search for images, things like that. If I type in E parts, it'll bring up a web search. It'll bring up, similar to what Google does, is brings up kind of that basic information about it, questions. Then it's also going to bring up images. So very similar to what you might use in Google. If I click on images, you can also do image sorts here. You can do safe search, moderate, strict, and then you can also do filters, which brings in image size, colors, types, and under type they have transparent, whereas in Google the type is under color. You'd have to find transparent. Layouts, and whether it's just people, whether the date it was, and then any type of license it has. So if you're looking for a Creative Commons license, things like that. So that's just on the basic search itself and doing filters. You can also search by image, and so you can paste or upload. Again, all search engines seem to have that, but just wanted to let you know that Edge has it. It's pretty nice. Up at the top, if you have something that, let me go back to all. If you have something, this is similar to the reader view that's in Safari, but if you have some sort of website that's like a blog or something like that, where it talks about something, let's say, I go to this website. If you notice this area up here turns or is highlighted reading view, it'll say it's available for that page. See, now it's moved in blue and it's highlighted. So now when I click on it, of course it's going to clean up the page and make it much easier for me to read. And the way it's reading here is almost like a book. So that's kind of a nice way to look at it. So it doesn't scroll like the web page. And so that's the reader view. If I click back, now I'm just looking at the website itself. And I get all the ads and all the things on the side. So that's what's nice about the reader view. Then I also have the star, of course, to add it as a favorite. This is the hubs for favorite. So when I click on this, it's going to bring down other things that you can look at. So you have your downloads. You'll have any history. You'll also have any books about that subject. If you have anything you've noticed, I'm not signed in, but if I sign in, it would keep my history there. Then the next part is reading list. So if you have any websites that you've starred that says like you want to read it later, it will keep an offline copy of it so that way you can. So let's go ahead and star this. So you notice it says add to favorites or reading list. And so I can choose favorites or reading list, and I'll just name it add. So now it's back down to my reading list, and there it is. And so it's just a nice way to show you a big picture, and it shows you the site, and of course you could have them listed there. If you want this pinned, then it just stays up while you're browsing. That's all, really. Okay, another cool thing is, let's say you're on a website and you want to do some notes. So the little pencil up there now brings in this ribbon that becomes purple. And under the purple ribbon, you have different colors that you can choose from. You also have size. So it's going to show the thickness of it. And if I want to circle different parts, I can. Change my color, do something different. If I'd rather have a different color, to outline something. You also have a highlighter tool and an eraser tool. So the eraser tool is actually, if you click on it, it will erase it. You have a notes tool. Clicking in any area basically gives you a number, and then you can type in notes. The parts. After looking. And then I also have this nice clipper. And so under the clipping, you can just take parts of it, if you wanted to, and clip that page. So now that's copied. It can go lots of places. Of course, you can paste it in anywhere. But the next option under here is, I'm going to skip over touch writing, is to save. So I can save it directly to OneNote. I could save it as a new section if I wanted to. I click on the drop down. If I had another OneNote or any other sections open, maybe it could be a new page. I could save it to my favorites if I wanted it, or my reading list. And remember, if I'm signed in, it's going to save it. So that way I pull up the Edge browser and I'm signed in somewhere else on a different device, it follows me. You also have the share option. So you can share that same little web note. And it's going to be able to share it to different places. So you can copy a link of it. You can send it to your mail. You can Skype it, send it on Twitter or OneNote. So just some nice little features there. And you can turn this on and off. This is just a touch writing, so I could do it within that area. Now, if I don't want this, I want to go back, I can see the tabs. I'm not going to save my changes. And so now there's the tabs I was just on. I can also click on the left here, and any tab that I set aside would be over in this area. So that's a pretty cool thing about the Edge browser. The last part is just the 3 dots showing your different areas you can use. Here's your cast media to the device, developer tools, or if you need any extensions, and pinning this. So just some basic examples. All right, so let me close out of this, and we'll stop presenting. All right, so went over a couple nice things there. Started off with the PowerPoint, looked at the ways to bring in 3D models. Then we went into the sheet and learned how to sort the items and copy a particular sheet into another sheet and actually have the data come over live. So if we made changes, it would change it on both sheets. And then we went back to look at the Edge browser and some of the things you can do with web clippings, copying reader view, being able to write or annotate on items, and the cool items there, and being able to share those. So last but not least, I want to go back to the website. I want to introduce you to a couple of things. All right, so back on Blended Tech Learning, of course, clicking on these will take you directly to those sites. You can also click down here on any one of these icons to get directly to them. So besides these courses, the best way to get straight there is just to go to courses, and it's courses.blendedtechlearning.com, and then you'll see the listing of all the courses. So we have a level 2 prep. So you can go ahead and take level 1, and then when you finish that, you can go ahead and take level 2 and get yourself all Googled out as far as a Google certified educator. We also have the Apple Teacher Prep course, the office hours. So anything I do in office hours, I put here, that is free. And we have, if you want to become a Microsoft Innovative Educator teacher, they usually just offer this at particular functions, but you can actually do this all online and get your certificate just by doing this online. So that's kind of a nice deal, and it doesn't have to be in one day. It can be over a month. It can be over a week. Just you can decide on your own time how you want to do it. Some of the new ones I have are these shorter, what I call learn shops. So they're not entirely full, long, exhaustive courses where you have to commit a lot of time, but they're nice, short, but also very informative ways of doing things. So we have Writing Reimagined using Microsoft. We also have a number of Google ones. We have a Google Slides makeover, learning how to better use Google Slides in all sorts of ways. Google Geo Tools, learning how to use all the different geo tools that are out there made by Google. So from Earth to Tour Builder to Maps to My Maps, things like that, and some other little third-party tools that help you. So that's cool. And then we have a digital writing with G Suite, learning how the ways that Google allows you to publish and basically having that writing process inside the classroom. We have personalized student learning using OneNote Class Notebook, Chrome Chameleon, everything you need to know about the Chrome browser and how you can make it work for your classroom. Make sure you can be versatile like a chameleon as things change. I have a brief but thorough introduction to computational thinking because it is a big deal, especially these days, getting people to think that way. Also have digital storytelling on any device with Sway, and 7 steps to learn more about how to make your items more accessible for those people with learning disabilities, those people who need inclusive type learning materials, things like that. That's going to help you answer to a more diverse audience. Authentic assessments using Office 365 with Form, Sway, and some more different things, including Minecraft. We also have Skype in the classroom. And then I bundled both of these together. So if it's easier for you to buy both both together rather than separate, then I put them together. And we should have some more coming up by the end of April. We should probably double this number by the end of April. So about 20 right now. So you see about 40 by the end of April. So go ahead and sign up for a class. Go ahead and take it if you want. And if you sign up for any of these right now, any of these ones that are the Learn Shops that are $50, there's a $10 off because these are meant for summer. And they will go online in May. But if you sign up now, you'll get $10 off. So go ahead and click on one of those, and it'll tell you how to do that. All right. So that is Blended Tech Learning EdTech Office Hours for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you enjoy some of the games tonight.